Good. Here we are at the final session. How do you like this conference? Well, we have another one next year. I'll tell you where and when. It's going to be here in Washington. And it's going to be next September. And it will occur at the same time as the landing of the InSight probe on Mars. So we'll be able to share that together as we did with the Curiosity landing in 2012 in Pasadena. Now there's going to be something else happening. I mentioned it earlier today, but a lot of people weren't here then. Which is also at about that time we're going to be launching a mission of our own. Okay, which is Mars Awakening 8. We know that we have been planning a one-year mission in the Arctic, Mars Arctic 365. And as part of that process, we down-selected 3 candidate crews, which were tested in the Mars Desert Research Station last November and December. These were actually MDRS crews 142, 143, 144, were each composed of finalists for the Mars Arctic 365 mission, because you can look at their resumes, you can listen to them speaking on the videotapes that the semifinalists sent to us. You can do all that, but ultimately you've got to test them in the field before you, especially before you do something like risk people in the Arctic. And those were all very good crews, but of them, the crew 143 was the strongest. So we selected it as the core of the Mars Arctic 365 crew, but there were also 2 other members of crew 142 that were very strong. So we added them to the team, and we're going to test them not for a 12-day mission, but a 12-week mission in the desert in the fall, beginning approximately September of 2016. So we'll be beginning that as well. Now, I like the fact that it's still up behind me because this is the next subject on the agenda. As you know, we're going to be launching a major political offensive to try to intercept the political process. And of course, we're going to be jumping right into the thick of it by being in Washington next September. Okay. And as part of that, by the way, as part of the conference, we will do a blitz to Capitol Hill where we'll take everybody at the conference over to that hill and wander around the offices there and go and talk to all the congressmen and senators and senatorial and congressional aides that we can. That we need to put something like this on the nation's agenda. Now, here's the thing. I agree with all the important points that Art just made. I disagree with one thing, which is that this is necessarily the specific best mission design. Okay? I think that's an open question. Okay? I myself have other ideas. Because, for example, there is a 2-year free return trajectory, which he briefly mentioned, didn't go into, that is available not just in one particular year, it's available every launch opportunity to Mars. You can do a 720-day round trip, and while that's longer than 500 or 580, the advantage is it's lower energy. It's easier to inject to from Earth, and it's much easier to re-enter from interplanetary space, and you don't have to go into the inner solar system to Venus, where things are going to be hot and create thermal problems for the crew. It's really straightforward. And also, incidentally, it is the same trajectory that you would actually use to send people to Mars on, except you're actually doing the free return instead of holding it as an option. Okay? I think that's a very doable thing. And there may be other trajectories as well. In fact, I'm sure there are other trajectories. This is a thing. One thing that was a defect with the Inspiration Mars initiative by Dennis Tito was he was fixated on the one trajectory that he had discovered. And, you know, you can have things that are original and things that are good, and sometimes things that are original are not necessarily good. And sometimes things that are good may not be original, but they're good. Anyway, we had an international student design competition in 2013-2014 in in which 35 teams entered, drawing from 56 universities around the world to do a design of an Inspiration Mars mission. We're going to hold another such contest, but this time with the ground rules clearly more open that they can choose any trajectory they want. But here is the limiting principle. It must be done by the end of the next president's second term. Okay? It must be done by 2024, and it must be doable by then. What we want is a plan that we can slam on the desk of the president-elect in November 2016 and say, here it is, this is the plan. You can do this. You can be the one who breaks America out of its stagnation in space. You can be the one that shows that free men can astound the world with what they can do again. That this is right here, right in front of you. There's no question you can do it. So we're going to have that contest, and we're going to have the teams do their stuff, and we'll have the final presentations of the final 10 will be at our conference here in Washington next September. And we'll decide it there and then. Okay, and presumably we will try to get representatives of the political class here in the hall, watching these presentations, watching, judging, and seeing how feasible it is. They'll see 10 different ways that it's feasible, because I'll tell you, by the time you get to the final 10, they'll all work. Okay? There's more than one way to skin it. Well, one will be best. And they'll see it. Okay? And okay, it's going to be a prize, $10,000, the first place. And Peter Nikoloff has already volunteered half of the prize fund. And we'll find somebody else to match it. And probably create some second and third prizes. Something about this mission, okay? I, proposed one version of this mission way back when, at that time I compared it to flying a Lindbergh, because, in other words, what's the point that a two-person Mars flyby? You don't get much science done, and you don't, okay? But, what was the point of Lindbergh's flight? Okay, he didn't bring any passengers across the Atlantic. He didn't transport any cargo across the Atlantic. What did he accomplish? Showed it to be done. Now, there's another thing. When I think about this mission, the ancients up through the medieval period, they believed the universe was constructed with these crystal spheres surrounding the Earth, separating the Earth from the heavens. Okay? And in their scheme, these crystal spheres could actually hold up the planets as they moved around on their cycles and epicycles and so forth. Another way to think, though, of these crystal spheres is that they're shells imprisoning us, separating us from the heavens. Okay? Well, what this mission is, it's a shell smasher. Okay? It's a shell breaker. Okay? This is the hatchling mission. Okay? This is the eagle breaking out of its shell. You know the play 1776 where they sing the chirp, chirp, chirp of an eagle being born. Okay, that's what this is. Okay, the eagle's going to be born. It's going to break out of its shell. Okay, and that's what we're going to put on the agenda. Okay, here in the next year. So we'll put this out. In email bulletins and everything, and we'll get the word out. Get it out in your own countries. I want to see teams from France, okay, entering into this. Canada, of course, okay, Poland, Russia, everywhere. All you who are listening out there, okay, let's see a lot of teams. Let's show, also, one thing that the previous contest showed, and I believe this one will show again to anyone who's watching, is how the challenge of Mars inspires youth to develop their minds. Okay, that is the engineering design effort that was generated in response to our last competition was extremely impressive. It was millions and millions of dollars worth of engineering work was done collectively by these students in response to this challenge of having a chance to contribute their ideas to how that Inspiration Mars mission could be done. Okay, and and to anyone who saw it, that they had to be impressed. And they have to understand, once again, we have this crisis in education. How are you going to get the kids, to go and develop their minds? How are you getting them out of the wall? Okay, this is how, okay, not by testing them to death, but by inspiring them and challenging them. We're going to challenge them. So, here it is. There's really no reason why this can't be done. And if we're talking in the time frame between now and the end of the next president's second term, okay, and that's the relevant time frame. There's no point talking to people about, how they could start a program that will land on Mars in the year 2069. I mean, it's just ludicrous. And but this thing here, it can be done, and it can, another word for it is the dragon slayer. Okay, the dragons on the map of the solar system right now. The medieval cartographers, in addition to having shells above us, they had maps of the sea. Here be dragons, can't sail here, can't sail there. Okay, can't sail anywhere. Okay, well, at a certain point you got to show the dragons aren't there. Okay, the radiation, yeah, there's radiation in space. It's about a 1% risk of getting cancer for every year you're in space, which is, by the way, less than the risk of getting cancer from breathing in the petrochemical fumes in the vicinity of Houston. And so, let's get the astronauts out of that toxic environment up into space. And all these other excuses that they have for not doing this. We can't do this until the cosmic radiation problem is solved. The cosmic radiation is going to be there, and you just got to be willing to go to space and brave it. Now, zero gravity, you can go zero gravity, or you can go artificial gravity, and we'll have both options available in our contest. But basically, this is to show that it can be done. This is to show we can fly, okay? And, but we got to break the shell, got to kill the dragons, and this will do it. So, there's a lot in front of us right now. There is this need to intersect this political campaign. I'll be writing a 2-pager that will be able to get out. It'll be posted on the website, so everyone will be able to get it. You as an individual or together with a local chapter can go call up your local congressional office, go visit them, put it down in front of them and say, look, this is the sort of thing we're going to be doing. We've got a $17 billion a year space agency. We want to see some results. We want to have a space program that's really going somewhere. Okay? And we're counting on you, Mr. Representative, Mr. Politician, to make sure that it delivers. Okay? And because we insist that we are still a nation of pioneers, and we're not going to accept anything less. All right, so see you next year.
To było przemówienie końcowe Roberta Zubrina, doktora Roberta Zubrina, na zakończenie 18. dorocznej Międzynarodowej Konferencji The Mars Society. To na tyle. Dziękuję. Pa, pa, bye, bye.